Alright, but we should start with a bit. What should a bit be? This is an audio podcast.
Yeah. I was pulling a comical face, but
yeah, that's not a good bit for an audio podcast. Okay. Maybe they could feel it in their...
Well, the first bit is that I need to stop crinkling this.
Yeah, you do, yeah. Down it. Oh, we did it. There was so much left,
my name is Hector. No, we're not doing that. That's a terrible bit. I was going to do Drunken Old Man, but that was actually just a little bit cringe.
Why old? That was cringe. Why old man? Why going to be drunken young buck in his 20s?
I feel like the stereotype is like homeless old man that's rambling and
now we're bringing homelessness into it. It was just a drunk man.
Drunk with homeless.
I've seen you the drunkest you've ever been, and at that point homeless. You were homeless.
Yeah, I became homeless.
You had no home for that night.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hello and welcome to episode 32 of the Nethergreen podcast. I am your usual host. I'm Bradley.
And I'm the other usual host, Hector.
And I'm completely sober, but you're pretty fucking drunk.
I'm wasted.
Yeah, you're a drunk old homeless man.
I'm a drunk old homeless man.
In his 40s. No. Which is old for us, because we're young bucks.
It's old for us, yeah. But when we're 50, that'll be young. And when we're 70, that'll be even younger. Right. And if we were 1,000 years old, that would be so young. But imagine if we were 100,000 years old. Wow. 40 years old.
I doubt we're going to make it to 50. Never mind 100,000 years.
That's very pessimistic.
Is it? But yeah, we've got we've got Doctor Who, Wildly Yonder to talk about. You got any little bits? You got any saga updates? Got any little bits? I've got one little bit that we could talk about before Doctor Who.
Yeah.
The GTA 6 trailer came out.
Oh, yeah, the GTA 6 trailer.
Did you watch it?
Which I haven't watched, but I've seen loads of bits.
You saw little bits from it.
I've seen little bits from it. But I haven't seen the whole thing, no.
I mean, it's a minute and a half. You're not made of time. No,
I'm not made of
time. You're a busy man.
I'm made of carbon, mostly. Carbon-based life form. Some protein and...
Don't patronise me. Lying about that. You're made of flesh and bone.
We're all made of carbon.
That's not true.
We're made of nitrogen, mostly.
What, like balloons?
No, that's helium. The nitrogen is not in balloons.
Sure, mate, sure. But yeah, we got a pretty standard episode. I mean, GTA...
Oh! Sorry, I just wanted to do that.
It worked. I jumped. Good for you. It looks good. It looks visually... That's enough of the screaming bit. It looks good. Visually, it doesn't really show much of the story, but visually it looks good.
Can games get any more visually better looking than where they are currently?
There's one shot that looks so goddamn live action, and it's a smart shot because the shot is a bit low res because it's for a phone, but with such good graphics at a lower resolution, it does just look real. Like, it looks like a live-action insert. I paused it at that point and I was like, that is the game. Holy shit. That's impressive.
I'm imagining it. Wow, that is impressive.
Yeah, isn't that impressive?
Wow, that's impressive.
That old one with the hammers.
Holy shit, wow.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, it's a visually great-looking game. It's coming to us in 2025, where GTA 5 will be 12 years old.
Wow.
That's almost half of our lifetimes.
That is, yeah, that's...
Well, I'll be 25, depending. If it comes out early, then I'll be 24 still, and at 12 years it will be half my life.
Wow, that is an old game, and yet it still holds up, and people still play it anyway.
Yeah, I mean they skipped in terms of GTA. Rockstar just skipped the PS4 because GTA 5 was first released on PS3.
Yeah,
and now GTA 6 is being PS5. You know.
Yeah.
An Xbox Series X, and no PC release yet. Because they don't care about PC games.
Wow.
That's not true. They do, but
they should do.
They take a lot longer with PC releases. The same thing happened to GTA 5, and that was 12 years ago. You know, 10 years.
How long did it take for them to release it on PC?
It takes a couple of months. A PC port is harder than. Well, I say it's harder in the sense that that's the port. It's being made for console. Every game these days are made for consoles, with the PC being an after. I mean, most companies aren't doing their own ports. That's why a lot of ports suck. Like the Batman Arkham City port, Rocksteady didn't do that. They made the game for consoles and they handed it to a different company to port it. And that's why it was bad.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully this one won't be bad. Because it's taken them 12 years to make it. So
no, I think
so amazing.
I think on console it'll be amazing, but I can't speak to the PC port. But I'm going to play it on PlayStation 5 anyway. Because while my computer's good, my PlayStation is better. You know?
Yeah. Wait, no, your PC's better.
No, I doubt it.
Yeah, it is.
I don't think it is.
It definitely is.
I don't think it is.
It is.
I don't think it is.
100%. You could get higher FPS on your PC than you could on your PlayStation.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about FPS, I'm talking about the graphics, specifically. How good the game will look.
Oh, on your PC, definitely better.
I don't think so.
Definitely better.
I disagree.
Your PC costs more. It has more RAM.
Yeah, but
the CPU is better.
The PlayStation
and the graphics card is better.
I consider the PlayStation to be more consistent.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, that's really it. That's all the little bits.
I can't think of any other little bits. I mean, there's wars.
I don't want to talk about the wars. I don't know enough about the wars. Okay, I support the good side in every war.
You support the white people.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said. Don't quote me that.
I'm moving in soon. We already said that in the last one.
You got no major updates to your saga?
The only major update is paid the deposit, so I'm definitely moving in now.
That's not a major update.
We're 4 days closer.
If anything, I'd say the major update would be if you said you hadn't paid your deposit.
That would be major.
Yeah,
that'd
because then it'd be like, whoa, is he actually going to move in? What a plot twist. Well, yeah.
My life, unfortunately, isn't a movie, so I don't do that randomly.
I think your life's pretty cinematic.
Yeah, maybe.
You've had a lot of shit happen in your daily life that we can't even talk about on the podcast.
That's true, yeah. Wait, really?
Yeah?
Such as the bomb that went off 2 years ago.
You were on one of the 9/11 planes.
Well, I was, yeah.
And you lived.
And I did live.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was a baby.
You were.
And I orchestrated the whole thing.
I didn't say that. That'd be quite fucked up if you did. No, but you as a baby, you crawled off the plane, and your original mother strapped a parachute to you.
Yeah.
And she, obviously, because you were a baby, she wasn't sure if you'd open it.
Yeah.
She took a leap of faith, but you did. You just so happened to pull it, and you parachuted down to safety.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that was when I landed here in the UK.
Yeah. You floated all that way.
Yeah. I floated 3,500
directly
miles.
into your new mother's hands, and she's raised you ever since.
Exactly. Yeah. What a beautiful story.
You're
right.
Did you know Seth MacFarlane, the creator of Family Guy, and the voice of Peter Griffin, was supposed to be on the plane?
That's questionable, right?
No, he was.
Really?
He missed it because of a hangover.
Ah.
Yeah.
I've heard that before, and when I did hear it, I was like, that's convenient for you know.
You can say that's convenient, but that's just life, boy.
Yeah.
Well, you say it's convenient. It was going to fucking New York. That's a pretty busy place.
No. I mean, it's convenient that it happened for him, a famous person, able to talk about it as a bit.
Well, there were proper famous people who did die during 9/11. There were like creators of TV shows and directors of movies that died in 9/11.
I suppose so.
Yeah. There's a comedian called Pete Davidson. His dad was a firefighter. He died at 9/11. You can't be like, that's convenient.
Maybe it's just because I hate Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah. I mean, if that happened, we'd never have gotten Peter Griffin in Fortnite.
Holy shit.
Like we have now.
Oh my god.
Did you actually hear about it? Yeah, Peter Griffin's in Fortnite now.
Jesus Christ.
When he dies, but he's buff though. Have you seen the pictures? You must have seen the pictures. You
no.
haven't seen the pictures?
No.
So you know what Peter Griffin looks like, right?
Of course.
Family Guy Peter Griffin.
Yeah.
Here's what he looks like. Here's what Peter Griffin Fortnite looks like.
Jesus Christ. At this point, the word Fortnite doesn't even sound real.
So that's the normal Peter Griffin. And that's Peter Griffin Fortnite.
He's amazing. He's buff.
He's buff. He's a buff Peter. Look at that fan art. Jesus Christ. He's buff Peter. And whenever he gets killed, he does that, you know, that Family Guy hurt knee.
The knee thing, yeah.
Where he'll go down and go, yeah. And he flies in using the Peter copter, which is apparently apparently that's in an episode. He has like a helicopter with his face that he crashes or some shit.
Yeah.
I don't play Fortnite, so I don't give a shit about any of this.
Really?
I had to hear about it in school though.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah, I love the students play Fortnite.
I see.
Unsurprisingly. But yeah, and a lot of them were like, do you play Fortnite? Because I was in a new class on Monday, like, do you play Fortnite? And I was like, I don't, but I've seen it. I know what it is.
Yeah.
Have you heard about the Peter Griffin? And I was like, and I had to, because I wanted to play dumb.
Yeah.
I was like, Peter Griffin, is that the Family Guy one?
Yeah.
I know it's the Family Guy one.
Yeah.
But they were like, yeah, it's the one from Family Guy. And I was like, oh, he's in Fortnite now. Oh, wow. But in my head, I was thinking, you silly children. I'm on the internet way more than you guys are. I'm sadder than you guys. I know exactly what's going on. I know he does the hurt knee meme. You're going to tell me he does the hurt knee meme, and I'm going to go, oh, really? That's quite funny. I know.
Did they tell you that he did the hurt
knee? They did. Yeah, they did.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. Shall I talk about some of the attacks? No?
Oh, you mean the attacks at school? I thought you meant like the terrorist attacks.
No, I mean the attacks that I've received.
I see, yeah, sure.
So,
those are basically terrorist attacks, actually.
Yeah, so on Friday, I was in a new class, and there was a student, I was left alone with the kids for an hour and a half, which, it's a good thing I haven't named the school, because that's not actually legal. I'm not trained for that, I'm just a TA. Not only that, but I'm technically supply. I don't work for the school. I work for an agency who loans me to the school. So it is actually illegal. I should not have been left alone with those kids for an hour and a half. I don't mind. But there's a student in the class who, he was outside with a laptop, and I didn't like that. Being outside with a laptop of the classroom isn't a great idea, because there will be kids who will come past and try and take the laptop, or try and like go on the laptop and he could react. So I was like, hey bud, why don't you try coming into the class? And he immediately closed the laptop and swung it at my face.
Jesus Christ, why?
As a way of getting me to go away, which almost worked. If he had genuinely, if he had gone for the back of the head, bad, that'd have been really bad. It's not a new laptop, it's one of the old bulky laptops.
Yeah.
Think of the laptops you get in a school, Yeah. But he went for the face. I was able to catch it, because I'm actually quite quick. I've got some skills. But no, I caught the laptop. I pulled it out of his hands. I took it back into the class. He was following me, kind of hitting me on the back. I put the laptop on the table. I had to grab his wrists, essentially restrain him. And I just walked him out, and I mean, it might sound mean, but I kind of had no choice. Pushed him out of the classroom. I was like, no, you can stay out there. The laptop's staying in here. Just go out there. And then he walked off. And because I was alone with the class, I couldn't follow him. I can't leave an entire class of kids alone just for this one little prick.
Yeah.
No, I had to stay with the class. But yeah, I knew where he was anyway, because we have locked doors in the hallway, so I knew he was contained. So I just kind of left him to it, But that could have been a lot worse.
No. Well, I suppose this is this is expected, but what a fucking retard.
Yeah, I mean, it's bad. But then on Monday, I straight up got a punch in the face. Luckily it was by a kid who was younger and weaker, and a girl. So
a girl.
She was a girl. And plus I knew going into the situation, because this student's quite infamous, I was like, okay, she's probably gonna hit me. I could take it. And I did. I took it very well. I took it so well that she didn't hit me again. If she had hit me and I was like, oh, then she would have kept swinging. But I took it well enough that she was like, that's not doing any good. I'm just gonna walk off.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
This kid should be locked up.
This is them being locked up.
No, they should be locked up in a prison.
Did you hear about that? Daniel sent us the article about that kid who almost killed his teacher over the Nintendo Switch in America. Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't see that.
So big boy, big kid, 6'6", really quite fat. The teacher, he's special needs, but he's in a normal public school.
Yeah.
Mainstream school. The teacher took his Nintendo Switch away as a punishment, or just threatened to, and he got up and beat the shit out. There's a video. Beat the shit out of her, kicking her as she's down, punches to the head. She's completely hospitalised. I think she was out for a couple of days.
Jesus Christ. And what happened to him?
So he's been arrested, and the mum put out an appeal being look, please have mercy on him.
Oh, have mercy on him.
He's been through a lot. He is autistic. And I think had a very... No, I think a lot of people had a similar reaction, which was... I mean, what's your reaction to that?
My reaction is he didn't have mercy on the woman when she's lying on the floor, so... Yeah. Why should anyone have mercy on him?
So what would you... So what, you'd support him going to prison?
Yeah.
At first, I wasn't too far off. I am in a different boat because I've worked with the kids, which is why I looked into it more. I was like, okay, even if this is a mainstream school, there has to be some more to this. This would be a student. It's not as if it's his first day. This was a student who was known in the school. He had other incidents. Nothing as bad as this, but he had other incidents. I was like, okay, why did this woman think it was a good idea? I've told you before about that one the kid in my school who fucking sumo wrestled that woman, that teacher, and broke her shoulder because went near her personal stuff. Yeah. I know not to do that. So I was like, okay, what was she thinking? So I looked into it. And even though it's a mainstream school, again, the kid's known, essentially, it's known. The fact that she did that and didn't think there would be any sort of reaction, or what did she think was going to happen, essentially? Like, I doubt she was expecting to actually, like, almost die, but she had to have known there would have been a response that wasn't good. He's a big kid who is autistic, very autistic. 3 separate different reports before.
Then why is he in a normal school?
No, another point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, but at the same time, that's not on him. It's not even on the mum.
Well, it's kind of is both on him and the mum.
It's not, how is it, he can't control what school he goes to. I would say it's more on the mum, but I don't know enough about that to say that. It's possible she's tried to get him into a different school and they've said no, or there's none in the area. You know, there are different things about that. But for a kid like this, he is only 16 too. He would not, when you're that sort of autistic, you wouldn't survive prison. You wouldn't.
Then, so what? So what so what?
I agree that a kid like that...
He'd beat the shit out of a woman. Then he deserves to go to prison, and if he gets beat up in prison, taste of his own medicine.
This isn't someone who's rational. He's not applying with logic. If someone purposely did that knowing the consequences and all that stuff, but this was a spur-of-the-moment decision by... He might be massive, but he's 16. And he's very autistic.
But I feel like one of the main thing about prison is I don't think prison in most cases should serve as a punishment for people.
No, it's to reform them, but that's kind of the point. With this level of autism, you can't reform that. It's not going to cure his autism
but not even to reform people, it's to protect the general public. Right?
No, exactly.
That's like the whole point of a prison, to keep all of the dangerous people away from all the normal people.
No, exactly, but that's why I agree with the idea that this is a kid who isn't going to function in society. Not prison. Institution. Somewhere where his needs can be catered to.
The problem is who's going to pay for that, because that's not free. That's the only problem there. And like the government doesn't fund that, but they'll gladly fund places where...
Are you sure about that for the US government? I'm not sure about that. I'm actually asking.
For the US government, I could imagine it definitely would not be free. Maybe in the UK there's like free places because we've got more like the NHS and that kind of stuff. But I feel like at least definitely in America, that shit would be expensive as fuck, for sure. Or like, at least with prisons, there is good funding for that because they don't want, prison people running around on the streets.
Yeah.
So there's a motive for it to have funding. But I feel like for sure stuff like that wouldn't get funding. So then at that point it's, well, what do you have? A kid who's potentially dangerous to other people just out and about, or...
Yeah, but it's not just this kid. That's the dangers of the spectrum. There were many kids like that. As many kids who go to my school like that. I genuinely, prison is not... It would kill him. He's not going to survive in prison.
Yeah, but he almost killed that woman.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, but I worked at a school for special needs kids for 3 months, and I know you don't do shit like that.
Yeah, but he isn't in the special needs
Yeah,
school.
But she can't have not known. I refuse to believe she can't have not known. This is a kid who's had 3 different incidents. I don't want to say it in a bullying way, but people would be pointing at that kid and being like, don't do that to that one. There's no... I refuse to believe this woman had never heard of this kid.
Yeah, but I don't know, yeah. To me, that seems like a weird mentality, because ultimately then he could grow up to leave the school, and then what he's out and about on the streets, and what everyone that he passes is just supposed to know.
No, exactly. And again, I don't think this is a kid who will...
Or again, what if a new teacher comes in as TA, the school is disorganised, and then the TA goes into the class and does the same thing?
Well, that's on the school at that point.
That's not on the school. It's on him being in the school. He shouldn't be in the school.
I'm sorry, no. If a TA comes in and the school doesn't warn him at all about that, that's on the school.
But also, what if a new kid comes to the school, bumps into him, and then he beats the shit out of the kid and kills him or something like that?
No, and again, I agree. He shouldn't be in that school, and he shouldn't be in society, but he shouldn't be in prison.
Yeah.
He shouldn't. That will... it's not hypothetical. He will die in prison.
Well, you almost killed a woman. To me, that's like...
Yeah, but a woman who should have known better.
That's like, I don't know.
It's like if someone, if it's a busy motorway and someone runs across it and you hit them with their car. Yeah, you've almost killed this guy. That person should have known better than to just run across the road. That's what this woman was doing by doing something like that to a kid who's, again, 3 separate incidents, all very similar. None of them this bad, but very similar. It has to be known.
Yeah. I mean, but to me, that's kind of different, because if a woman gets beaten up and nearly killed by someone, that's not the same as her jumping into a road.
Yeah, but it's someone who doesn't have control of themselves like that.
Exactly. That's typically, those people go to prison because they kill people.
No, they're murderers. But those are the ones who do have control.
Yeah, but also, well, no.
Well, mostly.
Still no. I mean, if someone murders someone...
No, murder's premeditated. That's the difference between something like murder and manslaughter. Murder is premeditated. You went in intending to kill this person, or you killed them knowing that there would be consequence.
Well, no. If an autistic person has, like, a rage and kills someone, it's still murder. They just go to a special type of prison.
Which is, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. He Gen Pop? Mainstream prison? No. A special type of prison for an autistic person is essentially just an institution.
Well, then, yeah, I guess it is an institution. But either way, though, people like that shouldn't be in a school if they're hurting people. Like, that should be common sense.
To be in a mainstream school that's ridiculous. But again, I don't know enough about it to say whose fault it is. But all I know is, that's not his fault. He has no say in that. Did you decide to go to your school at 16? Were you like, yeah, this is the school I'm going to be in? No, of course you didn't. You were put in that school by your parents.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of parents do choose to put their kids in school when they obviously don't belong there. There have been a bunch of, like, severely autistic kids at one of my brother's schools that are constantly interrupting assembly or things like that.
That's not the kid's fault.
Yeah.
It's not, you know.
But then also at the same time, a lot of the places where the kids should go actually cost money, and then that's the problem. That's why often that happens, especially in America. I could imagine that that's the case. So probably... Well, I'd assume after that incident, the kid surely doesn't still go to the school anymore.
He must. I mean, I'd hope not.
He surely can't do. Now he'd probably be in an institution, definitely.
I'd hope so. But, well, now he is basically sitting in a jail cell, as they wait to figure out what they're going to do with him.
No.
But honestly, as horrible as the case is, and, you know, I'm glad the teacher's not dead, but he does not belong in a prison. He really doesn't. He really doesn't.
Well, I guess just the autistic version of a prison. I don't know.
Yeah. He needs to be in an institute where...
Because you can't even put him in a place where he's with other autistic people, because there's something
different.
No,
no, yes, you can. As long as you've got people there who are trained to deal with that. As long as you've got people there who understand, okay, these are guys that are all on the spectrum, they're all on different levels of the spectrum, I know when to keep them contained, I know what they can work together on. Because again, the kid I was talking about in my school, the one who dislocated a teacher's shoulder, he's in a class, he's with the other kids. We all knowledgeable, we the adults are knowledgeable of what is and what isn't okay around him. The kid goes over towards him, we back that kid off. It's getting too loud, he asks us to keep it down, we try and keep it down.
Yeah.
It's not a kid that should be completely removed from everybody. He could function with other autistic people as long as there are responsible adults there who know what they're getting into, like this teacher should have.
Yeah.
And even if she wasn't trained on that, which I'm sure she wasn't, it's a mainstream school, you don't just take away the belongings like that. Not when there's been other incidents. She had to have known. She had to have known that this wasn't just gonna... It wasn't just gonna be like, oh, okay.
I mean, she probably didn't expect that he was gonna almost kill her.
No, and I obviously don't think that either. But the idea that she didn't know that this kid had previous... That the school... If anything, yeah, at that point it'd become the school's problem. Not his. The school's. If she genuinely went in there completely uninformed as to who this student was... That's the school's fault.
Well, no, he is still responsible for beating the shit out of a woman for taking his PlayStation.
Yeah, but there's only so much responsibility you can put on a kid who doesn't have that sort of grasp.
Yeah, I mean...
If a guy can't walk, it's not his fault. If a guy's born disabled, if a guy's born without the use of his legs, you're not going to be like, that's your responsibility. Like,
I mean, it is still somewhat your responsibility if you almost kill someone, whether you're autistic, retarded, or not.
Like, yeah, but I feel like... You're not putting enough thought into when someone's on the spectrum. I mean, it might sound mean to say, but their grasp of reality. You're not thinking long term like that. You've got short term rage. You're expelling that short term rage, not understanding the fact that there are long term consequences.
Mm.
I don't know. Bit deep for the podcast, but I don't know. Yeah.
That's it, everyone.
Yeah,
but that was.
And Doctor Who was good. 6 out of 10. No, let's get into Doctor Who now, properly.
Yeah.
Wild Blue Yonder. I've written a bunch of notes, and I'm going to go through them one by one.
Alright.
While I'm doing that, do you want to quickly explain the story?
Sure. So, we first start off with Indian Albert Einstein, I first thought it was Black Albert Einstein.
It's not Albert Einstein.
It's
Isaac Newton.
Isaac Newton, sorry, yeah, not Albert Einstein. Basically the same thing.
No.
White scientists.
Yeah, but it's not the same guys. Isaac Newton was not in Oppenheimer. 2023.
And he would have been black if he was.
He was Indian.
He was Indian. So yeah, we see Indian Isaac Newton for some reason. Who knows why? Maybe in this timeline he's Indian.
Yeah, I don't care about that. And it's not something that bothers me. I don't give a shit.
I mean, to me it's just silly. Yeah. But, yeah. And then... what was the relevance of it in the story?
So the Doctor and Donna, obviously Donna's just spilt the coffee, the TARDIS is going out of control. The main purpose of it, weirdly, is to set up the Mavity joke. That they've changed the word gravity and now everyone's calling it Mavity. Which, by the way, I mean, I like the idea of it. I hope that continues forever. I hope in 100 years Doctor Who's still going on and it's still called Mavity.
Apart from they call it gravity, she calls it gravity.
No, the Doctor does later in the episode.
Isn't she the one that says? Oh no, she does. She says the gravity of the situation. She makes the joke.
Well, yeah, but at that point, the timeline it's her making that joke that changes it to Mavity.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, it's Mavity. Yeah, yes, that makes sense. Yeah, and then they fly away, and then they appear in this, I guess, spaceship.
About the opening, my first point that I wrote down was Isaac Newton weird opening. It could and should be cut.
Yeah.
I don't mind the Mavity joke, but the entire scene it feels like it could have been a Children in Need little sketch. I'm surprised they did the thing with Davros, because that was just right for it. I was very Children in Need. I do think it's a bit cringe, the opening. But at the same time, I mean, it is a good way to put the audience into like a false sense of security. Because it's a really dark episode. And to begin it with such a light-hearted, comedic scene, it's a really good way of twisting it onto the audience, where you're beginning the episode touting its face, you're like, oh, this is going to be fun. And then it's not. It is. It's really fun.
It is fun, but not that kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do feel like, yeah. Again, same with the last one. It did kind of feel like a lot of like forced, random woke scenes were put in there for no reason at all.
So you do think the Isaac Newton thing is woke just because he's Indian?
Well, I mean, yeah, because they would have sat down and decided to make him Indian, and that part to me is a little weird.
Not necessarily. What I think happened, because this is an actor who has been in other things, I think Russell was just like, I really want to do something with this actor. Fuck it, let's just make him Isaac Newton. I don't give a shit. I really want to work with this actor.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I suppose it could have gone that way. In that sense, that it's less cringe. But yeah, to me, the idea of like premeditating that choice is the part that makes it cringe. That
would be weird if it was like, that's only audition Indian actors. But I genuinely think it was a case where Russell was like, oh, I really want to do something with this actor. I really want him to have like a little bit.
Yeah.
Fuck it. I've written this Isaac Newton scene. Let's just cast him as Isaac Newton.
Yeah.
That's what I think happened. I could be wrong, but that's what I think happened.
Yeah.
But then, what happened? What happens after?
And then, the TARDIS is unhappy and he needs to repair it. So he puts the screwdriver in the.
Well, they land on a spaceship to do so. Well, the TARDIS lands on a spaceship.
Yeah, they land in the spaceship.
They don't know where they are.
Yeah, yeah. And then it repairs, and then they go and explore around.
Well, it doesn't just repair; it leaves.
Well, at that point, it doesn't leave yet.
Okay.
Because they go and explore around first, and then they come back and it's left.
Okay.
And they explore around and they see a little character.
Because while you were saying the story, I'm going to get into my beats. When the TARDIS leaves, the Doctor and Donna have like an argument. Where the Donna's like, this is it's your fault. You had to suggest wandering round, and he's like, you spilt the coffee, and it gets a little bit heated before she gets scared. But while watching that, I think that's such a best friends kind of argument. Like, that's not an argument he could just have with like a fresh companion. That sort of argument, the way that they both react in that scenario, where they're both angry at each other, and then as soon as Donna gets scared, he goes over and he holds her hand and he's like reassuring her. Like, it's so obvious just from that these are two characters with like a deep love for each other and like deep history.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if that was like a 4th episode ever.
Yeah.
Like, who would give a shit about a scene with that sort of impact? But the fact that there's 15 years behind it, like, that makes that scene really work.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah. And then the suspense and the fear comes in a bit, where they get to this corridor and they're looking down the corridor, and it's like a big, long, empty corridor.
The biggest corridor Doctor Who's ever faced.
Yeah. And you can see at the end of it, there's a little something. It looks like a hunched over figure or something like that at the end of the corridor.
Little blob down there.
And there's the bass kick, and it's like boom, and he turns to Donna and he does that face where it's like, oh no, something bad is going to happen. And then you're like, that's where this is going. This is going to be a slightly scary episode. Yeah. And then, they start going towards it, but then they hear the TARDIS leaving and they run back into the room and the TARDIS has left. And they're like, oh no. And then they have that argument. Yeah. And then they go back out, and I think, they go running or walking down the corridor, and they pull out a little car.
Yeah.
They get into the little car, and I'm going to do this. This is going to be this is going to be a 50-minute. I'm going to go through every single action that
That's fine, because again, I'm going to have beats that I'm going to stop you out and comment.
Cool. They get in the little car and they drive all the way down over to us, and they find out, it's a little robot.
Yeah, which they call Jimbo. So my next point. So I think Jimbo the robot is fun. He's not in it much, and to me it mainly feels like he's included because, again, I mentioned it last episode, this is an episode where they barely marketed it. We didn't know anything about what was going to happen. One of the only things we did know was the image of this robot, and I feel like he was only really included because they needed something to market the episode with. They needed some sort of iconic picture that they could do, and for that they used the robot.
Yeah. And they go up to him. It's a robot that's not moving. It's standing still. He taps on the head. He says, "Hello, anyone there?" And then at that point, we hear
Fenslaw.
Coleslaw.
Coleslaw.
A giant voice calls out coleslaw, and all the walls start rotating and moving around. And the Doctor's like, whoa, and Donna's like, whoa. And then, and he's like, wow, what was that? And he's like, oh, I don't know. I speak a billion languages, but I've never heard that one before.
Yeah.
Because, the TARDIS is now flown away, so they don't have the language translator anymore. Yeah. And they carry on down the corridor.
Well, the robot takes a step.
Oh, yes, the robot takes a step.
A single step,
and they carry on down the corridor. And at which point we start getting some shots through the walls as if from the perspective of something watching them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought...
What did you think?
I thought a little bit cliche, but...
I mean, yes and no.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something we've seen a lot of, but it's something that works.
It is
in anything it appears
classic.
And it works,
It is very classic.
It's a very easy way of instilling a bit of dread,
Yeah, they're being watched. And they keep going down, and then they reach the end of the corridor, and they find a door. A door which leads into, I think, what do you call it, the main deck? The
control room.
The control room of the ship. And they go over, sit down in the chair. The doctor reads the panel, and he's like, numbers, now I can understand their base code.
Yeah. And you're someone who codes.
Yeah, I'm someone that codes. So I was like, Doctor, I'm now fully connected with you in a way I never was before.
Yeah. You were like, I could read the code.
I was like, I can read the code now as well. Thank you, Doctor. Yeah, and so he reads the code. He's like, life forms. There's no life forms on board. We're all alone on this ship, floating out at the edge of space, the edge of the universe. Oh, I'm so sorry, Donna. How did we get here?
And an airlock opened 3 years ago and then closed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, wow, I've never been out this far before.
Which isn't true.
Yeah, which you said that it's not true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Doctor's not only been on the very edge of the universe before in an old serial called Underworld with Tom Baker. He's left the universe completely. He's entered parallel universes, and during the Flux event, he was he was between two universes in the void in a little ship. She was outside the void in a little ship.
Oh, so that's recent.
Yeah, that's recent. yeah, that was recent. Wow, that was last season.
So that's just lazy then. Yeah. At that point. Yeah, that's just lazy. Okay, but yeah, and then they go into like, some spaceship room with panels and stuff and pipes. And Donna goes into one room, the Doctor goes into the other room, and Donna is looking at these sheets.
There's a nice little fake out where the Doctor pulls out the panel and it's dripping with something, and Donna asks if it's dangerous. He's like, no. He takes a lick of it. He pretends like he's about to like choke and die, and then he's immediately like, nah. Which I think is a really funny scene, considering that was the preview clip they released before it aired. So we saw him lick the thing and then begin to choke, and then for a week we sat on that being like, what's going to happen? So as it came on, I was like, this is it. This is when it starts. And then the Doctor's just like, nah. And I was like, that got me good.
Nice, yeah. And then they both go into their separate rooms. The Doctor's looking at pipes with bubbles and water, and Donna is moving these panels from one drawer to the next drawer above it. And while Donna's doing that, the Doctor comes into her room, and he crouches down in a weird way.
I'll stop you there. So they're also, I mean, I could tell just from the way that he crouched that wasn't the Doctor, because it's such a weird goddamn crouch, and it's so unnatural, and David Tennant's such a natural actor that I was like, there's something up.
They did a very good job at acting unnatural.
Yeah, they really did.
Yeah, they did a very good job at doing that. And then likewise, the Doctor's in his room looking at the pipes, and Donna comes in, walking in weirdly, and
a bit too stiff.
Yeah, a bit too stiff, walks in, and they both have conversations with the fake, people that just came in.
Not just conversations, but they both give lovely little speeches. And Donna's speech, this is an episode that's really, I'm not going to use the word dependent, but it's really focused on just character exploration. So we get a lovely speech from Donna about her family and how much has changed in the last 15 years, how she's got stuff, unlike last time, she really has like people waiting on her and depending on her, talks about Rose and Sean, her husband. And then Donna's little, David Tennant's, Doctor's little speech is about, the TARDIS is gone, he wonders where it's gone, maybe it forms the basis of a civilization.
That was cool, I liked that, yeah.
I think they're both just lovely little speeches. That's exactly what I wrote here. Doctor and Donna's little speeches are lovely.
Yeah. And then, the Doctor says, the fake Doctor says, my arms are too long. And then fake Donna also says the same in the other room, but she says it twice, and Doctor's like, are you okay?
Yeah.
She says, my arms are too long. See? And then the camera pans out, so we get this really cool shot of
her having a really long arm.
Of her having a very long arm. Yeah. It's like through the pipes, and it's obviously practical effects, and it looks kind of old. Yeah. Not old, like, the way it's shot looks like it's how they would have shot it if it was 1990.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
No, I get that, yeah. I mean, it's an awesome shot.
But it's nice.
I mean, the arms are practical. Some of the stuff they do is like the bit where spoilers, but the bit where she
spoilers. We're telling the entire story.
The bit where she has like two knees on her leg. That's actually a practical leg too.
Yeah.
Another little point here. My arms are too long is very, because that's something Doctor Who used to do a lot, where they would take a phrase and they would repeat it a lot in the episode, and it would make the phrase scary, but it also immediately flash to, you know, if you hear it later on. For example, "Are you my mummy?" You know, it's such a simple little phrase, but you can't hear that and not think of the empty child. Or, "Hey, who turned out the lights?" Or, "Don't blink." You know, all that stuff. And it hasn't done that in a long time. The last thing I could think of when it did that is with Matt Smith with "Silence Will Fall," but even that wasn't an episode. That was more like foreshadowing of an entire storyline. So it hasn't done that in a long time, and I love the fact that they brought it back. Because, like, when I think of stuff like that, I think of, like, kids in a playground, and what sort of stuff they could say in order to, like, pretend, if you were playing an episode of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And saying something like "My arms are too long," you know, any kid who's watched Doctor Who would immediately recognise it.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, I love the fact that they did that. That's such a Russell thing to do, too. Yeah. Very Russell.
That was very, very classic Doctor Who. Very nostalgic Doctor Who. Yeah. And then, basically, you know, real Doctor and real Donna both realise that they're in the room with fake Doctors and Donnas.
The Doctor's arms also get longer.
Yeah.
Because his arms are too long.
They're very long. Very creepy. And then they all convene into the central control room, and, you know, normal Doctor and normal Donna look at each other and they're like, "Oh my God," and they hug each other. And then the two monster Doctors and Donna comes in.
Do you know what the monsters are called? They do technically say it in the episode.
Nothing.
No. Well, close. Really close. They're not things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I've written it down here. I think is a really cool name. It's also a really awesome concept, because just almost like the Midnight Monster.
Yeah.
There's a lot of questions about these things. Some of the ones that I've written include, are these creatures, they seem to be like shapeless, because when they do the arm thing, they have a conversation about that. He's like, the notion of shape is quite intriguing, and Donna's like, it's limiting, it limits. So they're shapeless. But are there, my main question about them is, are they plural? Are there actually two of them, or are they both representation of the same entity?
Yeah.
Who, you know, has only become two people because there's two of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my main question about it.
Oh,
because
that's
then because later on they introduced the idea of the captain. But if it was only one captain and there's two of them, then what was happening there? Were they swapping in and out? Were they both the captain?
Yeah.
It makes me think that no, there's only one creature, but it's taken two forms because it has to, because there's two of them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was a really cool idea for a monster.
It's also, fun fact, it's the first original monster since 2020.
Wow.
Yeah. In 2020, Series 12, Episode 7, we got an original monster, and then since then it's been returning or adapted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which has annoyed me. I mean, even last week, the Meep isn't an original monster. It's adapted from a comic. The Meep was introduced in the 80s. 90s.
Yeah.
The 1890s.
The 1890s. Wow, that is old.
But yeah, and this was the first one where it's like just completely original since 2020, and it's been missed. I love original Doctor Who monsters.
Yeah, I thought they were very good, very original.
Yeah.
And so then they start to back out of the central control room. You know, started to realise, oh no, these guys aren't friendly. They can't be reasoned with. We need to back off and run away.
Well, what happens when the not Doctor fixes his arms?
Oh yeah, he fixes his arms and he's like, you're not nothing. And then the Doctor is like, with his jaw.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Oh yes, yeah, his jaw drops down, which is cool. And then
it is cool.
He pulls it back up.
There is one thing I have to mention, because I saw a lot of comments on Twitter, and I'm just going to ask.
Yeah.
What do you think of the CGI?
See, yes, it was bad, but I felt like that added to it.
Exactly what I've written here. I think it being enough adds to it for two reasons. One, this is such a when Russell, you know, before the episode came out, so was like, this is something Doctor Who's never done. I think he means this very specific type of horror.
Yeah.
One, if it looked too realistic, it would genuinely scare the kids.
Yeah.
If it looked photorealistic, that would terrify kids. This is a family show. It being a bit naff, the CG, adds to the kind of suspension of disbelief of, oh yeah, I remember now, as scary as this is, it is fake.
Yeah.
But two, I actually think it being a bit naff helps it to fall into the uncanny valley. Because imagine, I mean, it being photorealistic, oh, scary. Imagine if you saw something in real life that looked like naff CGI.
No, it kind of adds to the sense that this monster is, like, not the same as things.
Exactly.
Is what it described itself as. We are not things.
Like, the idea that, you know, oh no, it's not that it looked bad because it's now CGI. No, it looked like exactly that.
Yeah.
The mouth going like that looked like that. That's a way scarier concept to me than, we didn't see it, but it actually looked photorealistic. It looks real to them. Well, no. The idea that it didn't even look real to them is scarier to me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because they're not made out of, as we see, you know, later on, Donna, like, melts into a pool of blackness.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they're not made out of flesh. Yeah. They're, like, made out of...
They're not things,
They're not things, exactly, yeah. And so then, you know, they go, but you are not nothing, or something like that. And then the Doctor's like, well, you'll find that we're quite something. And then he grabs the car, jumps into it, and they drive away. And then as they're looking back, we get this rather...
So, this is a shot that Doctor Who's never done before. Yeah, I wasn't expecting this when the episode started.
But I feel like this plays into this very specific, like, thing that makes them scary, which is that, like, it's kind of like not even, that they're like, they're not physical things. Yeah. They're like really weird.
Yeah.
Because imagine if that was what the monster looked like as it was chasing you. That to me, that would be way scarier than anything else you could think of. Because that kind of sort of like mind bending.
Yeah. The giant demented Dr. Donna's, you know?
And it's being warped as in like it would be in Photoshop if you were like using a warp tool and warping the image. And to me that it was funny, but also like that's great because that's scary. That kind of like plays into what the monster is supposed to be.
Yeah. The kind of surrealness.
Yeah, like a surreal monster.
It, you know?
Yeah. And then they keep growing and they keep getting bigger until they get stuck in the hallway. They're so big that they can't carry on running.
Which I also love because it shows that the creatures, you know, at the moment they are lacking control. And if anything, that's the only thing that saved them right there.
Yeah.
If the creatures had more control, they would have been dead because they crashed the car.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, Doctor and Donna start climbing up some ladders to get out, but then we hear coleslaw and
Collis
or whatever it is.
You combine the two. It's fenslaw and then collis. And you've combined it as coleslaw.
It's coleslaw, yeah. So we hear coleslaw, and all of the panels on the walls start shifting and moving, and
as do the ladders. Yeah.
Yeah, and also if I didn't make it clear, coleslaw it's like a loud voice that we hear emanating through the ship, like it's an announcement.
That's not Coleslaw is a tasty dip.
It's a tasty dip. But that's what I mean when I say that, because I didn't make that part clear. So every so often
I was so confused.
Yeah, every so often we keep hearing like an announcement coming, and then all of the wall panels start shifting and moving around.
And perhaps more importantly, the robot takes a step.
Yeah, and the robot takes a step. And so they're climbing up the walls when they hear the announcement, coleslaw again, and and the panels start moving, and they get swept away and separated from each other. Doctor and Donna get separated.
Not just separate rooms either, but separate floors. Like they're quite far away from each other on this big ship.
And so they start exploring the ship, because the monsters are supposedly still stuck up there in the main corridor. And then we see them, I guess it's like an intercut sort of like action
but
shot.
Before we get to that, while Donna's walking, we get a really lovely little horror scene where she hears the footsteps and turns around and there's nothing there, and then the door closes.
Yeah, that was scary.
While that is a cool scene, at first I remember, because by the way, audience, I've seen this, it came out Saturday, today's Tuesday. I've already seen it like 5 or 6 times. I'm going to be bold and say, honestly, this episode might creep its way into my top 10. I adore this episode. It's really broken up my love for It reminded me so much of what I love about this fucking show.
Yeah.
But at first, my first watch, I was like, okay, that's a fun scene. Is it that necessary? It is. The reason that scene's really necessary is that it reminds the audience how much Donna has fucking seen and how brave she is. She didn't run. She stood there staring down that fucking corridor, not knowing what it could be. And the only time she finally turns her back is when the door closes and she knows she's safe. She was ready to face whatever that could have been. That's why that scene's really important. It reminds you that, no, Donna's not a fucking noob. Like, she is brave, you know? And I think that is important, especially in an episode like this where you do see her get really terrified. It's important to remember how brave she is, you know?
Yeah. And then it kind of turns into like an intercut action shot of the Doctor and Donna.
And the Doctor and Donna.
And the Doctor and Donna bursting into rooms. And the Doctor and a fake Donna.
Not
and
Donna. Yeah.
Donna and the fake Doctor are both in separate rooms. Yeah. And so we get like scenes of them trying to convince each other who's real.
Yeah.
Basically.
Now, my main thing with this scene, even on my first watch, I do think this second meeting with the Not Things, it makes it a bit too obvious which ones are real. Solely from the point where, one, you know they're both, you know, because they're both in pairs, you know that in the respective scenes, one of the two is fake.
Yeah.
You know, there's no chance that two of them are real and the two of them are the Not Things, because the Not Things would just be like, oh, it's you.
Yeah.
You know? But not only that, but in their respective scenes, I feel like they're putting a bit too much focus on the real ones. We get the Doctor, you know, talking about Gallifrey and getting, you know, exposition that and reminding him that, you know, he's the timeless child. But then with Donna's scene, we're getting her describe how she was born in Southampton. And I feel like, I mean, it's not that important, you know, it's not that quick of, you know, it's not that slow of a scene, but I do feel like they do put a bit too much focus on the real ones in that pair, so you do almost immediately know, like, okay, this is the real Doctor, this is the real Donna.
Yeah, and you get the scene where, the evil, I guess, the not Donna is actually saying some bad stuff to the Doctor.
Yeah,
and then
she brings up the timeless child and the flux.
Yeah.
And in that one scene, Russ treated it better than Chibs did in his entire run.
Yeah.
Like, the flux was I know it seemed like it was ages ago. It was last season. It is still very fresh for the Doctor. And what did we see Jodie do about it? Nothing. She didn't really outwardly mourn. She didn't even seem that bothered. She even lied to Dan. She was like, oh yeah, saved the day. To get the Doctor actually displaying some grief over the fact that half the universe did die. Which, by the way, we didn't know. Right? Chibnall was such a bad writer, we actually didn't know if he'd, like, reversed the flux. We didn't know if it had any lasting damage. We didn't know until this episode that, no, it did destroy half the universe. That really did happen. Chibnall never bothered to say it.
God damn.
Yeah.
What a terrible fucking storyline with the flux.
No, that's the thing. I honestly, I think, while it is a crap storyline, that and the Timeless Child was treated poorly, I think it's going to be good. Because, in a way, it's almost like what Ross did with the Time War, except we've seen it in action. I think it can have consequences on the Doctor that build his character in the same way the Time War did for the Ninth. I think Russ can retroactively make that a really important storyline. He's already showing it in this scene. You see how damaged the Doctor is from those two events. You know, I feel like that can make you look back on those storylines through new eyes.
Yeah.
You know, if we have, like, you know, David Tennant and Ncuti Gatwa talking about how much them not knowing where they're from, how much them being the timeless child fucked them up.
Yeah. Which
Chibnall never bothered to do. But if Russell can, I do think it's going to, you know, make the storyline better. You know?
Yeah.
But great scene either way. Russell, so David and Catherine are acting their fucking hearts out in this episode. Just a masterclass of acting from the both of them.
Yeah, it's really, really good. It's really exceptional.
Yeah.
Especially since they are the only actors in this.
Yeah, it's a two-hander.
Yeah. Which makes it even better.
Yeah.
Even more impressive.
Yeah. Again, it's also... I haven't loved an episode this good, or like this much, since Heaven Sent, which is also an episode which only focuses on the Doctor. You know, there's no companion. I think there's something so lovely about restricting cast in that sort of way. Again, something Midnight does really well too. While there are new cast, it's, you know, the Doctor's undeniably the main character of the episode. You know, you don't have to know that much about everyone else. All you know is that he is scaring them as much as she is.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, really, just the fact that there's only two of them, I think that's brilliant. If it was like a normal base on the siege story, there was a crew, it wouldn't be nearly as impactful as them being just them. You know?
Yeah, I agree. And then, what happens next?
So yeah, so Donna reveals herself as not Donna by getting into a big muddle, puddle of goo.
Yeah.
Telling him he's a prize. What are ya? As he runs.
Yeah.
And then we get Donna and not Doctor, where he removes his tie as some desperate bid to be like, and if we see a Doctor without the tie, that means he's fake because I am real.
Yeah.
And then she explains the circumstances of her birth, and then eventually she's just like, I am the Donna, I am the real Donna. Where is your tie? And then we see that the tie isn't on the floor anymore. And he's like, oh, when something's gone, it keeps existing. And he fucking folds backwards like a pretzel.
Yeah.
And, calls her stupid and then does a fucking exorcist walk.
Which I thought was fun.
It's really fun. It's creepy. The shot of his head poking from his thing isn't creepy. The walk is. Yeah. They speed up the frame rate and all that sort of stuff. It's a creepy walk.
Yeah.
I had two thoughts during that, two notes. One, with the where's your tie thing, God, Donna is not fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Some people might think she is stupid. Even in the episode addresses it herself, Donna thinks she's stupid and she thinks she's brilliant. What a fantastic observation that is. A lot of people would not have noticed that.
Yeah.
The fact that she noticed that the tie had vanished. And if anything, she noticed that, while she was explaining the consequences of her birth, she just glanced down and she was like, okay, the tie's gone, just keep talking, like normal. Alright, where's the tie? Fucking brilliant for Donna. And yeah, the walk is great. Again, this is a type of horror that Doctor Who has never done. That exorcist walk, that shot on its own, and not only the shot, but the fact that, you've got the not Doctor going, Donna, 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 Donna!
Yeah.
It's such a visceral type of horror that it's just never done before. And I really love the fact that it's branched into it,
No.
And then Donna runs from not Doctor.
And then they run back into the control room.
They run into an adjacent room from the control room.
Yeah.
But while they're running, the Doctor stops and has a mini breakdown. He starts punching the wall out of anger of finally opening up about his trauma, and then it turning out it's not actually Donna, and she makes fun of him for it. She laughs at him.
Yeah.
He's punching the wall a bunch, he kicks it, he pants, and he's just like, good. And then he walks off. Love that mini breakdown. And not only that, but here's why I love it so much, because I think that is not, that shows how much this incarnation of Doctor has changed since he was the 10th Doctor. The 10th Doctor, when he had a breakdown, it was loud and bombastic and public. Think about when he raged at Wilf when he was about to die. It's not fair, I could have done so much more, where?
Yeah.
Whenever the 10th Doctor had a breakdown, it was very public, and when he was alone, he was miserable. He was slow, and he would just stare off and cry. But if the Doctor does anything doing the opposite, is when he's alone, he wants to fucking explode. And when he's with Donna, at the end of the TARDIS, there's one line which I think is so perfectly, a perfect example of how different he is from the 10th. There's one moment where Donna asks the 10th Doctor, are you alright? And he's just he's clearly not alright, and he just goes, of course I'm alright, I'm always alright. In Silence of the Libraries.
Yeah.
And then you get this episode where she's like, are you alright? And he's like, I will be. When? In a million years. And this is a Doctor who's not afraid anymore of admitting to his best friend, no, I'm pretty fucked up right now.
Yeah.
And I love that. I feel like that little mini breakdown is perfect. It's a perfect way of showing the difference between 14 and 10.
Yeah. And then they go into the control room?
They go into the room adjacent, because the control room's down a corridor they run down. And it's the two, it's the Doctor, the Donna, and not Doctor, not Donna. All four of them together.
Oh, yes. Yeah. And then they have a scene where they're all trying to convince each other. And then the Doctor does the bit where he says, Donna doesn't just think she's stupid, because she is, but she also is brilliant, or something like that.
Yeah.
And then she's like, brain box, and he's like, and then they hug, and the other two are like, meh.
The other two, they get taller, which, by the way, they do a classic film technique. How do you think they did that shot where they got taller?
How did they do the shot where they got taller? Just bring the camera down?
Yes, but they also did something else where they grew. It looked like they got significantly taller.
What where you do that with the lens and then pull it away from whatever it is?
No. Even more simple than that. You just stood on a box.
Oh.
They have the camera pointed where you're kneeling on the box in a way, your knees are bent so you're normal height, and then you lower the camera while standing upright. They do that. They've done that in films since the fucking 1930s. Nice. It's the easiest way of doing something like that, and it still works very clearly.
And then do they run again?
So then they do the quick little salt bit where the Doctor manages to trick them because they don't understand the difference between a superstition and a fact. You know, something that can be believed doesn't necessarily it doesn't mean it should be.
Yeah.
You know, and I love the way that they both trick their respective ones, because the Doctor's like, you know, it's a superstition and a fact. So not Doctor, cross the line. But then Donna's like, you don't believe him. Not Donna's like that. And then Donna's like, yeah, but you said I'm stupid. Oh, but you said you're brilliant. Well, which is it then? Huh? Cross the line. And so they both trick their respective not versions, you know. And I love that. I really do. And yeah, that's when we get a little bit more explanation where they're like, you know, we drifted among the lack of light and
darkness. We heard all of the war and the hate, and it forged us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, again, it doesn't really explain anything about them. I hope like Midnight, I hope these creatures are never explained. Don't explain them. It'd be awful if, like, in fucking 5 years they return and the Doctor's like, I figured out what they are. They're not things, are Orconomus from the planet Centaria.
Oh no.
You know,
a planet full of nothing.
Yeah, a planet of nothing. They are beings without conscience. Like, no, I don't want any of that. These are the not things. They're in this one episode. We will never see them again. Yeah. That, to me, way scary. That's why I love Midnight so much, you know? Yeah. Imagine if at the end of Midnight, the Doctor was like, oh, it's a Midnightanium.
Over-explaining things is what
that's what ruined
Chibnall does.
No, not just Chibnall. That's what ruined the Weeping Angels.
Yeah.
If the Weeping Angels only ever appeared in Blank, they would still be the greatest, not one of, the greatest creation in Doctor Who history. Yeah. But no, they brought up a bunch of times and Moffat kept expanding, they suddenly have superpowers, the fucking Statue of Liberty is a Weeping Angel. When they move, that was the scariest thing about Weeping Angel. What do they look like when they move? Because we were all under the impression in Blank that the angel is just what they look like when they're seen. Yeah. When they move, they could be anything. But then the next appearance is just like, oh no, they're still angels. Yeah, they're just angels. They're still, it's not even that they turn to stone. They just stop. They're still stone when they're not being observed. That's a dumb thing. No, they turn to stone. The fact that they still stone, they're not just stopping. They turn to stone.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, I hope they're not things. As much as I love them so much, I hope they never come back ever. Yeah. That's how much I love them.
I mean, I don't think they will.
I doubt it. Yeah. You know, maybe in Big Finish, they love doing shit like that.
Yeah. I mean, they're at the edge of the universe. If they somehow manage to get back again to the edge of the universe, the same place, and find them again, that is dumb.
Yeah, no, 100%. Really dumb. And again, that's why Midnight is perfect too. The idea that it's a creature that can only exist on that planet, it means you just never go back to that planet. You're fine, you know. But yeah, and that's when, you know, they think they're going to escape because another word is said, the countdown started. They get into a thing, it spins, and immediately just spins back round, and that's when they start running, you know. So what happens then? So they run into the control room.
And then they run into the control room, they close the glass shutter door, and Donna realises, why are they scaring us? Yeah. Why are they chasing us around and scaring us? If they're just trying to copy us, why don't they just do us in the corner and leave us alone?
Yeah.
And the Doctor's like, you're right, why are they trying to scare us? It's because they want to get our blood pumping and they want to get us thinking, and so they can copy us easier, read us easier.
Which again is also very Midnight. Midnight, you know, it's the whole idea of the talking, you know, first it repeats and it is in time with you and then it is before you.
Yeah.
But that's the thing with the Midnight Monster, that's why it latches onto the Doctor. It's not just because he's the smartest man in the room, it's because he's talking the most.
Yeah.
You know, it's exactly the same here. You need to be thinking constantly in order for it to copy your thoughts. So to scare you, gets you thinking, gets your blood pumping, exactly, you know, and I fucking loved it. And again, I've written here, the idea of throwing the Doctor into a situation where the more he thinks, the worse it's going to get, is brilliant.
Yeah.
Because that's what the Doctor does. Like, the scene, the little bit where he's like, you know, stop thinking, just stand here and breathe. For how long? There is a flaw in the plan, yeah. But like, for real, like that's, you can't do that. That's an incredibly short-term solution to a long-term plan. Yeah. If you had done that the entire episode since the beginning, sure, but no, you're too far in. You've now got to think, and you know thinking will make it worse, so you have to think even faster. But the faster you think, just a brilliant idea for the Doctor to be in, you know, just brilliant.
Yeah. And then he figures out what is going on. He figures out, why the captain threw herself, well, first he discovers that the captain threw herself outside, and then he figures out why. He figures out that she threw herself out of the door many years ago, because the captain realised that this monster had gotten on board and it was copying her, and it was going to drive back to civilization and cause havoc.
Now, the one question I do have about that is, if it's just the captain, like the fact that there's two of them, and it's almost like the thing where they're trying to work out who's who. If you see another you, and you're the only one on the ship, you're not going to have that sort of panic. You're just going to be like, oh shit, that's not me. It'd be weird if that wasn't the case. It'd be weird if you looked at it and you're like, oh, is that the real me? Am I the real... No, you are the real you. Yeah, you know that. You do know that.
Well, in that case, it would just be a different dynamic, wouldn't it?
Yeah, at that point, it becomes a different dynamic, yeah.
You would just know that there's something else on board and it's copying you for some reason.
But in my head, that idea isn't as scary as if there's two of you. And you're getting confused about which Bradley, imagine it's us, which Bradley's the real Bradley. That's much more scary than just seeing a fake Hector.
Yeah.
You know? Like for me, if I saw two of you, that's way more scary than just seeing another me. To me. Another me, I can handle that idea. Okay, that's terrifying, but it's one thing to kill. I can't kill both of you. I'd lose my best friend. You know? So like, who do I kill? Who's the real Hector? That's, to me, that's way scary of a concept.
See, I feel like actually almost just one of you makes it scarier, because then you're on your own with one thing in this spaceship. Whereas if you're with two things, then it's kind of like, oh, there's a bunch of us here.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like with just
one
one
that's why the episode
does
a good job of keeping them both, like the Doctor and Donna, separated. You know, for a fair amount of it, because obviously that does add to it, you know.
Yeah, when you're on your own, just
if I was on my own thing, I would do exactly what the captain did. I'd kill myself.
Yeah, straight away. Yeah.
I wouldn't even set a plan. I'd just be like, nah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But luckily she did set a plan. What was the plan?
She did set a plan, and the plan was to self-destruct the ship really slowly, so they couldn't figure it out. And that's what the coleslaw announcement is. It's just a countdown.
Yeah.
Very, very slow countdown.
And that's why the ship keeps changing. It's putting it so that the robot, which is taking very slow steps, will be in exactly the right place at exactly the right time to press the button.
Yeah. And thus destroying the ship. But because he's now figured it out, so have the monsters, because they're an exact copy of him.
There is one thing with that, which is a bit convenient, which is that obviously the Doctor and Donna, not Donna, get very big, and they're going through the corridor. It's just luckily the robot wasn't in that part of the corridor, because it would have just been knocked off the edge and it would have been fucked.
Yeah.
That's a little bit convenient, but at the same time, the robot has been walking, admittedly very slowly, for 3 years. He did get a big head start.
Yeah.
You know, like I can forgive that, but I can admit that's a little bit convenient.
Yeah. But, yeah, he is at the other end of the corridor, so they've got to run all the way down while the monsters are trying to run all the way down to stop the robot from blowing up the ship.
Yeah.
But they don't get there in time.
Yeah.
And,
which is good. There's also, during this bit, I literally had one note about the chase, which is that the Doctor throwing not Donna is fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Like the way she just turns, runs at him. What were you gonna do? He's a Doctor. He just fucking lobs her to the side. That's his Venetian kudo in action. He just lobs her off and keeps running. I laughed really hard when that bit came up, because I was like, yeah. If she's copied you, that's the one thing. And they even mentioned it in the episode. If you copied me to the point where you can no longer change shape, if you're weaker than me, I am going to be able to physically beat you.
Yeah.
You know? Which is just what he does. Yeah, throw her away. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
You know, before, she would have like sucked in his hands, and like, he would have been stuck in the not Donna. Oh. He would have been stuck in the not Donna, and she would have like fucking eaten him or some shit like that.
But now she is just Donna.
Yeah. So get phoned. Fuck you, bitch.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, I guess, and now the TARDIS knows that this isn't a dangerous situation anymore, so it comes back, and the Doctor jumps into the TARDIS, and, he's trying to get
at this point, Donna and the not Donna are fighting, so they've become switched up, and he doesn't know which one's will.
So he asks, who is Mrs. Bean, and why is she funny?
Yeah. And Donna gives, I understand the logic here, because Donna gives an answer that doesn't seem Donna, where she's like, because it's a vegetable, and you know, the name of a vegetable for a woman is funny, and the not Donna gives, it just is. But I can understand that. Real Donna is panicking at that point. The not thing, while she might look panicked, she isn't. She isn't panicking, she knows exactly the right answer to give. The most human answer, but Donna isn't thinking in that term. She's thinking of, okay, the Doctor's smart. why is it funny? Why would the Doctor find that funny? When a human would just be like, it's just funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know? So I really like the fact that he picks up the wrong one there.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, and again, I've written this into the thing. Imagine if Donna had just fucking died, and he'd say imagine how much that would have destroyed him.
Well, he could just travel back in time.
Right. No, because the rule with Doctor Who is once something's in your personal timeline, the only way he could have travelled back in time at that point is if he didn't know for sure she had died. If he knew she had died, game over. If there was evidence that she had died there, game over. He couldn't go back.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, luckily he does figure it out, and you know he extends the ramp, and not Donna is fucking slid out of the TARDIS. Yeah, and he saves it, and the ship blows. Yeah, I like the ending. I can admit it's a bit rushed, but everything is set up well. You get the countdown, you get the robot, you get the bangs of the captain.
It is a grand finale.
It is, and while it is a little bit rushed, it still very much works. You know, 100% it works.
No.
And then we get a little scene of, you know, the Doctor and Donna in the TARDIS talking. I love episodes that traumatise the Doctor and the companions.
You're a sick fuck.
I am, but if you get them scared and trapped, it brings out the best. Another great example of that is the Impossible Planet, the first appearance of the Ood and the Beast.
Yeah.
Like, just episodes where they're trapped. That's why, as much as I love the TARDIS and as iconic as the Screwdriver is, getting rid of both of them just instantly makes a story better. If you are trapped there, if you can't even get saved by the TARDIS, you just instantly, the stakes are raised. You know, a crap episode, 42, did exactly that. It's the one where the planet, the sun is alive and they're going to fly towards it.
Yes,
like, the ship's gotten so hot that they can't enter the room where the TARDIS is, which just instantly raises stakes. Yeah, not only do you have to save the ship from flying into the sun to save the crew, but you can't get back to the TARDIS until it's further away from the sun. It's too hot. Like, as much as I think that episode is a bit naff, instantly raise stakes. Instantly. Yeah. Any episode where the TARDIS is just available, where they could actually, they never would obviously, but in the middle of it they could just be like,
this time he didn't
leave?
even have his sonic screwdriver.
Yeah.
He had nothing.
Yeah, and not having a sonic, I mean, you might not even know this, most of Classic Who, not most, a lot of Classic Who didn't have the sonic.
Yeah.
The 5th Doctor to the 7th Doctor didn't have the sonic.
Yeah.
They didn't need it. And I like that a lot. Yeah. I think as good as the sonic is, it is, especially now, incredibly overpowered. In the last episode, he was making fucking bulletproof energy shields.
Yeah, making force fields to protect himself.
Yeah, but we get a lovely conversation between them. Again, that's where we get the, you know, are you alright? Of course I am. You know, instead of course I am, it's I will be in a million years. I love that this Doctor's that open. And then we get the very final scene, which includes just beautiful Wilf.
Yeah.
You know?
Which you say is his last ever scene.
Yeah, because he had planned...
on television.
Yeah, it was, just the last scene Bernard Crimmins shot ever before his passing. He only passed a couple of weeks after. And they had planned for him to be in the 3rd episode. Russell has said that he, you know, the character won't die. It's a slight spoiler, but it would have been really disrespectful if the character had died. So obviously Russell was like, in the next episode we find out he's safe and sound and secure. Because that's what you want. Yeah. Imagine how awful it would be in the next episode if we find out, you know, Wilf is in it and they're just like, Wilf died.
Wilf died.
Like, no, of course he's safe. But yeah, they planned to film a lot more, but he got really sick just after that scene was filmed and then he died. Which is beautiful. It is a lovely scene. I wish there was a bit more consequence to the scene, but as just a final, you know, almost like a tribute to Bernard Cribbins, just beautiful.
Yeah.
You know. And that was the episode. Now, I love this episode. 9 out of 10 to me.
Yeah, really, really good. Definitely 9 out of 10. Yeah.
It genuinely, I think, I love it right now. I think I'm going to grow to love it enough that it's going to push its way into my top 10. I adore this episode a lot. It really brought me back to life as a fan. I mean, I liked the Star Beast, but I wasn't like, oh yeah, you know, I'm always on the Doctor Who train, baby. That's how I roll. But I wasn't like, oh yeah, you know, I can't wait to see what else is in store. I was just like, yeah, hopefully next week will be good. No, I actively can't wait to see what else is in store. I'm really glad Russell's back now. Because, even David Tennant, I mean, I'm now a little bit sad that you've only got another episode with him before he goes. Oh
man, yeah, only one more episode. But I mean, yeah, he was never here to stay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it has that classic, well, I say classic for me.
Yeah.
It has the classic for me nostalgic. It just feels like it was the Doctor Who that I used to watch when I was like 10 years old. Because it basically is. It's the same writer and the same Doctor, the same actor playing the Doctor. So,
and I really love that. Out of the 3 episodes we're going to get with Tennant, they did this.
Yeah.
Like, because they could not have. They could have done something. Because a lot of people, I mean, we talked about it last episode, but because this episode was so kept under wraps, a lot of people were like, this will be the multi-Doctor one. We're going to get Matt Smith back in this episode. And they could have done something like that. But like I said last week, I said it. I was expecting something unexpected. And I got exactly that, and I couldn't be happier.
Yeah.
The fact that they did this with that limited 3 episodes, something as magical and just strange and surreal as this episode, I'm so goddamn thankful for that.
Yeah.
The last question I have to ask, I wanted to ask you, because I was thinking about it, because this is a unique situation for the Doctor and a companion. Could you think of any other TARDIS teams that would have had this impact if they had lived through this? Like the fact that Doctor and Donna have so much shared history, so much shared trauma of, the Doctor Donna situation, and then the Doctors had this. What other Doctor duo, Doctor companion, could do an episode like this as well as this? Because I can't think of it. Even the 10th Doctor and Donna wouldn't have done it as well as the 14th Doctor and Donna.
Maybe Matt Smith and the Ginger Girl?
Maybe Matt and Amy, but at the same time, the only 2 I could think of that could have done this as well is one, I think the 9th Doctor and Rose could have done something really special with an idea like this.
Yes,
But that works even better because if it had been like a series 1 episode, the fact that they don't have that shared history yet would have actually worked wonders. It would have made Rose scared of the idea of the Doctor.
Yeah.
And then he has to he's already gaining her trust, but he has to continue, The only other ones that I could think who could have done something like this beautifully is the 12th Doctor and Clara. I don't love Clara, but I can't deny how strong they were as a duo.
Yeah.
And I think an episode, it would have been, as much as I love Heaven Sent, if this episode was a 12th Doctor episode, man, it would have been my favourite for sure.
No.
I mean, this is my favourite. I don't think it's hard to say that this is my favourite 14 episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, I fucking loved it. I really hope they do some more experimental shit like this. This is just, I love it. I really do.
For me, it was, because for me, I feel like my relationship with Doctor Who now is over, basically, because I watched it when I was younger, and then basically at the end of the Matt Smith era, that was kind of it for me. I didn't really watch past that, and I haven't really ever since.
The most you've watched past it is with me, that I've made you watch.
Yeah, any of the Peter Capaldi episodes that you showed me, or a couple of the really crappy Jodie Whittaker ones. But yeah, for me, that was just that was perfect. It was like perfect nostalgia feeding episode for me. Classic Doctor Who, which was with David Tennant.
2008 Doctor
exactly.
Who.
Yeah, because I used to do that. Me and my mum used to watch them as they came out. We watched the Waters of Mars episode as it came out, and that one was supposed to be like a scary one when it first came out. So that was supposed to be a scary one.
Oh, have you not rewatched it? Still really quite scary, dude. Yeah. That's a great horror episode.
No, I remember being scared by it. Yeah, I remember loving it. I enjoyed that one a lot. So that was what it felt like. It felt like I was back there again. And for some reason, David Tennant isn't actually that much older. Somehow it doesn't look.
I mean,
that
him
much
and
older.
Donna are both 55.
Man,
which I mean, they look great, obviously.
Yeah,
but
they look great.
But I mean, I remember, because that's even funnier to me. Because when Donna was first cast, a lot of people, because she was only 35, but a lot of people were like, she's too old. We need ones in the 20s.
Nah.
She's 55 now, and she looks that great. Was like one of her best performances in the show.
Yeah.
While Blue Yonder. So
what has she done since?
Since Doctor Who?
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, because that's what also makes it so brilliant, that she's so brilliant. She's not an actor, she's a comedian.
Ah.
Like, she's done, like, panel shows and sketch comedy and a lot of Nan. Her character Nan? What a fucking liberty. You not seen Catherine Tate's Nan?
No,
you really haven't?
No,
I'm going to show you a quick clip before we go to bed. But that's what she's, even apart from Doctor Who, that's what she's most known for. She's a sketch comedian. She had her own show.
She did some pretty powerful acting.
Yeah, the fact, when she was first cast in Doctor Who, people were like, oh, I can't imagine. It's like when John Bishop was cast in the last series of Doctor Who. People were like, oh, really? Catherine Tate? Is she even an actor? Yeah, clearly.
Yeah, she did a really good job. She does a really good job.
Yeah. So yeah, since Doctor Who, the biggest thing she's done since Doctor Who is that she was in series 8 and 9 of The Office in America.
Yeah, American Office, right? So, yeah. Overall, really good. I really enjoyed it, and for me, as you know, the enjoyment factor takes a big part of my rating.
It does.
So, yeah. I'd easily rate that a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, and what can I say? I love it.
Yeah.
And then we got next episode, which again, the Tenants last, Shooties first. We've got the Celestial Toymaker back in action. What do you think's gonna happen? Here's a quick question. What do you think's gonna happen to Donna? How do you think her story went?
I feel like either Donna is going to die.
I really don't think that.
Really?
I think it would be... I don't think Russell's mean enough to kill her after the events in the last 2 episodes. Not when she's got a family and she's safe now.
That's true.
What I think was going to happen is that when Tennant, leaves and Shooty's introduced...
She'll forget everything or something.
No. I think she'll remember everything. But that's going to be too much for her. She knows the Doctor is Tennant, so I think she will be like, will you come with me? And she'll be like, I can't. I love the fact that I got to see you again, but that you, not this you. Donna's racist.
Yeah, Donna's racist.
No, but I do think him regenerating into Shooty will be a big factor in why she doesn't continue with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we've got till Saturday to wait and see.
Yeah.
I'm pumped for it.
Yeah.
I really am. But yeah, I think that's it then.
I think that's it. Yeah. Very good. An almost perfect 1 hour and 30 minutes.
Yeah.
We thank you for listening. We thank you for watching, if you're watching.
Oh, Hector, you've got a bee on you. Just kidding. We're doing a bit. Haha.
I do. I do have a bee on me.
Oh my god, he actually does. Not a bumblebee, but the letter B is on his watch. I've been bamboozled.
How did you know that?
Bewitched and bewildered. But yeah, no, thanks for listening. Obviously, we'll catch you next week as well. Hopefully. I want to record next week, so I want to record weekly whenever Doctor Who's weekly, essentially.
Bradley.
Yeah.
You have a bee on you.
Oh, I'm allergic to... I'm going to get my EpiPen. Is that Flight of the Bumblebee?
Bradley has died.
Oh.
Yeah, that was like the music when someone dies.
They usually do it with a bugle, don't they? Like one of those little trumpets.
Yeah, exactly.
Do.
No, not like that. That's too cheerful. It's sad.
Do. I don't know.
Find it and play it. And that's what we're going to end the episode with.
No, it's probably copyrighted.
No, it's not copyrighted. It can't be.
We're not ending the episode. We're going to end the episode now. Bye all. Join us again next week. Hi Tom. We know you're listening.
Oh, how about this? UK reverses some incentives for foreign workers in a bid to cut migration.
I don't want to talk about it. It's late.
Alright, goodbye everyone. Thanks for listening. Bon voyage.